r/AskReddit by Reddit and chill. Girls, what do you think would be the worst part of being a guy? I remember reading here on Reddit. A guy lost his best friend, I believe. And the girlfriend said to him that he could cry if he wanted. Hearing this words he just bawled. Cried for the death of his friend. Next day or something his girlfriend left him saying that she was seeing him differently after he cried. So yeah. I know someone who got in a street fight with some other guy and lost. His GF lost all attraction to him and no longer wanted to duck him because of it and she dumped him. I didn't see this mentioned by any women here so I will. Adult men have almost no physical contact with other human beings if they aren't in a relationship. I hugged someone other than my parents for the first time in over a year and I had this epiphany. Not being hugged regularly or receive any regular physical contact after becoming an adult if not in a relationship seems very lonesome. I miss it too. Being hit in the nuts. Fun fact. Your nervous systems become linked when you witness someone get kicked in the balls. How having mental illness is treated. It sucks for everyone but seems less tolerable for a man to be mentally ill. IDK, how else to word it? You mean just suck it up and deal. Being made fun of for crying or showing emotions. That and getting kicked in the balls. Yeah. I shut my shit down tight. I think it's a learned behavior. Getting kicked in the balls, however, circumvents this immediately. Having little to no agency in your dating life. Ask any man who has done online dating and they will tell you how absolutely barren it is trying to find someone who will match with you and keep a conversation going. Cool. I'm not the only one. As a man, I felt terrible when I found a child who lost his parents at the water park and the first thing I had to do was to enlist the help of a woman. Before even approaching the kid. If you're a guy, you're just blocked from a lot of interactions for the very concrete possibility of being seen as a predator. I like being friendly to strangers. But a lot of times they'll assume either you're ill-intentioned or you want to sell them something. My 10-year-old son recently said he can't wait to be old enough to make money babysitting. I told him there was absolutely no chance I would ever allow him to babysit kids. My wife didn't know why until our friend's son was falsely accused of sexually assaulting a girl at school and they ended up spending half their annual salary on lawyer bills. The mentality of having to be the breadwinner / head of house. And dealing with the social consequences of not living up to that. I'm the breadwinner in my house. My husband isn't bothered by it. But you're right. Society does. People keep asking me why I stay because he doesn't earn more than me. It's like damn. He loves and supports me and treats me like a princess. Why would I want anyone else? Not receiving compliments on your physical appearance often. Girls compliment each other on a daily basis. Girls will often receive compliments even from complete strangers. It can really help your self-esteem to reference those compliments when you're not feeling great about your appearance. Not often. In my 30 years I never received a single compliment. I don't know if that's normal or just me though. As far as previous values in our society, having to make the first move on a girl to ask her out. Edit. Lots of people are saying that they are current values in our society. I am aware of that. I didn't want people to say they don't have to ask the girl. The girl can ask too. Apparently that wouldn't have been a problem. As someone who did this long ago, Omar and I had so much respect for guys afterwards. It was hard. I got so nervous. And I felt so embarrassed. At the end I was rejected. And while it kinda hurt it was mostly just exhausting doing all that effort and freaking out on what the other person would say. I remember after that I was shaking and called up my best friend to tell him what happened. Not because I was hurt. But because the entire experience was tiring. Being in a very guyish environment when I'm feeling fragile and sad. My partner just started antidepressants. For a long time he hasn't been okay. He skips work a lot. He works maybe 9 and 10 days. Recently he finally came to terms with his mental health and decided to see a doctor. I encouraged him to talk to his boss about it. Since his work performance and mental health are directly linked. And it's important that he has support at work. Not just at home. He was terrified of talking about it. He was afraid of looking like an idiot. Or a wuss. In front of his workmates. Being in a guy's environment is great. But there needs to be more of a bro attitude when one of the guys is clearly not okay. Look after each other. Not feeling like you can say hi to kids or watch them play and have fun without parents thinking something sinister. I don't have kids yet and I love watching kids enjoy life and play. I'm a woman and there's no problem. Obviously I don't stare for ages but I will smile and watch briefly. Just enjoying their childlike simplicity and the way they interact. This has to be way up there with one of the worst things about being a male. People make you feel like a predator in all kinds of social situations and it's a horrible unclean feeling. I'm very extroverted and sometimes I wish I was a friendly looking, teeny 50 kilograms woman. Being a large male instantly makes you a threat to people. So often you have to suck up wanting to be friendly and just walk on pretending people don't exist or that you don't want to say hi. Edit. A word. Having the big sad. The big sad is bad. If you said being starved of any kind of positive attention for months or even years on end, then you're correct. I'm so used to it. It feels disingenuous when someone does give me positive attention. Being taught to hide emotions all the time. That's horrible for one's mental health. As an emotionally suppressed dude, I can confirm. The society always treats you as a disposable. I think this might have something to do with survival strategy in famine and wartime. Let's say you have a 2000 population strong fiefdom with a 1:1 sex ratio. If 800 out of a 1000 of your men die in battle, the remaining 200 can still repopulate within one generation by each marrying 5 wives. The population would be devastated thoroughly if it were to lose say half of its fertile females. Being judged by every action. I swear nowadays you can literally be a dad hanging out with your kid and someone will think you kidnapped him or her. That thought crosses my mind every single time I take my baby daughter out in public without my wife with us. Being completely expendable. Having your worth determined by your success and social status. Getting random boners in awkward situations. Particularly during puberty when everything is already awkward enough as it is. This brings back horrible memories of being 14 years old in English class when the girl opposite me dropped her pen under the table at just the wrong time and saw my random trouser tent. Getting custody of a child. I believe that a study should be made in which they analyze with whom will the kid be better psychologically and physically. Putting an emphasis on the psychology part. Sometimes the dad is not even heard. Look at the situation of Danielle Cohn's dad. Both parties should be heard. Around here the dad isn't even considered. I have literally watched well-grounded dads get flushed down the toilet while the drug-addicted mother gets custody. Like 98% of the time. It's sickening and those kids grow up abused. Sometimes sexually by drug addict moms, drug addict boyfriends. All the while, dad just has to sit and watch with no voice in any of it. Unless he can afford an extremely expensive lawyer. Having balls. They're super sensitive. They stick to the legs. All of your movements basically revolve around the comfort of your twig and berries. No thanks. The bizarre thing is they're only sensitive in certain situations. Kick me in them and I'll be down for 10 minutes. Yet when I'm ducking they can be slamming forcefully against the lady's butthole and they feel like $1,000,000. Go figure. The mixed signals from girls. And having to constantly worry if you're being perceived as creepy. The expectation that if someone insults me, a loved one, I have to fight it out to regain honor. As a man that used to practice this. Highly overrated. Fighting didn't solve anything and now she's mad at me for fighting. Either diffuse the situation with words or walk away and get on with enjoying your night. Having a mess to clean up after masturbating. When you grow from a precious child to a young man and are suddenly an expendable nothing in everyone's eyes. A bunch of no physical contact or balls getting hurt. Comments. You girls are forgetting the worst part. Imagine all those compliments and attention you received over your lifespan. Now imagine none of it ever occurred. You now live a life of zero to next to nothing external validation, outward approval, or confirmation of any parts of your life. Compliments for just being you. Never. Compliments for a small thing. Like how you dressed. Doing a nice gesture for someone. Succeeding at a small task. Never. Compliments for a new job. Huge success. Losing 25 pounds. Etc. Not likely. And often not without ulterior judgment. Edit. I'm okay with this. Actually, I have a very good life and I don't draw validation or esteem from external people at all. Don't remember if I ever did or if that's just the way I developed. Lots of good advice for people that do. However, this is a good one. I lost 40 pounds and nobody gives a shit lol. Edit. I've never had this much positive feedback on anything I've posted. Reddit is amazing after all. Thank you all so much. Being beat up at school. Or being a less of a man if I can't beat other boys up. Always being aware of all actions. Like smile at a woman. If you're good looking. Totally fine. If not, creep. Walk behind a woman at night. Creep. Want to help a little child to find his parents? Most likely creepy. I think it is very hard to learn how to act in public. Worrying about the size of your penis. I'm not worried. But a crowd of women will just target that aspect and go ham. And they think it's all fun and games. Basically body shaming. So not us. It's other people. Either social inequality. Being torn down for having feelings. Not being able to dress freely in the same way that women can dress in either male or female clothes. Not having their mental illnesses being taken seriously. Being expected to have absolutely massive arms and broad shoulders inflated to the point where it's not even attractive. Being ridiculed for taking care of themselves. Etc. Or getting random boners. Edit. Thank you for the silver. And almost 600 points. So to women. Sometimes we get boners without being aroused. So sometimes we don't just want to duck you but our other heads being, well, a dong about it. Not having a sexy woman body. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This is why I'm mad at God. Always being the one who is expected to be strong when everything is falling apart. If I was gay, I imagine it would be very difficult to come out. My younger brother was gay his entire life and me and my older brother knew it. We teased him a bit. But we just wanted him to be himself. And be able to do what he wants without scrutiny. You know? When he finally came out, my father grabbed his keys and left. While me, my brother, and my mom supported him. We're all fine now. But I can see after all that time why he tried to hide it. We're all on good terms now. But I can't imagine how that must have felt. The expectation of being made of stone. Growing up I always heard the whole men don't insert any display of positive emotions here and I remember thinking about how wrong that was. Or boys don't play with or enjoy anything considered to be feminine. And if they do, they're gay. I think the absolute worst is being laughed at when coming forward about sexual and domestic violence. Who the duck does that? Imagine a family member, female obviously, coming to you and telling you that they're being abused by their partner. You beat the ducker into the ground or even kill them. So, why in the hell wouldn't you do the same for a male family member? All the expectations men are put up with. The having to always be strong and not allowed to show emotion. The not allowed to be sensitive. The men should work so the women can stay home. The men are subjected to only being manly and having no feelings. Also not to mention the random boners and having to always make the first move. I've been seeing this a lot lately. And I'm honestly glad people are speaking up about it. Like, I don't want my friends to call me a wuss for crying. Or being sad. My friends are super supportive BTW, but still. If I ever do cry because of how it's been ingrained into my mind I can't help but feel unmanly. Dudes have feelings too. I'm glad we're progressing in such a way that we can talk about shit like this. Manual labor and physically demanding work. My college girlfriend. It's not fair that you make more money than me. It's so sexist. Me. I worked 50 hours a week all summer throwing slabs of meat in a factory. You work 10 hours a week at a theater. Having to make the first move. And having to deal with the possibility of rejection. There are other fish in the sea. but I wanted that one. All these replies and no one has specifically mentioned sitting on your own balls. It's a terrible fate I don't wish on my enemies. I did this one time and one time only. Because that's all it took to learn my lesson. I no longer slide into my car. I turn all the way around. Put my butt on the seat. And then turn into it. Ducking like and subscribe.